see, the troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. Roll out of bed, Mr. Coffee's dead. The morning's looking bright. And your shrink ran off to Europe and didn't even write. And your husband wants to be a girl. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. Where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. Where everybody knows your name.
Oh, wrong way. Okay. There we go. It's still, I forgot to update the timing, but I will get started, I guess in a minute once it finishes cycling, because otherwise it doesn't let me move forward.
Oh boy.
I know, I'm running a tight ship over here. Requires lots of orchestration and a little math, and they don't give you any off by one sort of accommodations.
Amazing.
All right. So with that, I think we are on the main thing. So I think I can start. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Code for Boston. My name is Matt, and I am on the leadership team here at Code for Boston. Along with we've got Alex and Harlan. I think Thad might be in here. If you have questions, need help with anything, feel free to ask one of us, and we'll be more than happy to help. We also have a nice crew hanging out outdoors. It's nice out, so feel free to, if you want to join us indoors. I think I have it on the next slide. Oh no, the next slide is to follow the code of conduct. So follow the code of conduct, and if you have any issues with the code of conduct, please contact one of us on leadership, and we'll be more than happy to take care of anyone who is not being respectful to you. But generally, people here are cool, so I am glad that that has generally not been an issue. So follow us on all the social media. If you're in a project group, we need content. We need content bad. The content well is dry. It is empty. Our social media followers, they are thirsty for your contents. So what we need is we need screencasts, we need hot takes, we need everything that you can provide to saturate our followers in order to make sure that they enjoy following us on social media. So just put it in the suggest a tweet channel. Obviously, we can put it in more than just Twitter, but I call it suggest a tweet. And then we'll slingshot it out to our followers, and who knows, maybe your idea can go viral. All right, next, want to let folks know, I was talking about this earlier, we are in person. Folks are able to hang out with us. We have things like Polar Seltzer, which is a Massachusetts produced fizzy drink. And we also have pizza, which is delicious, from Cambridge Pizzeria. So if you want pizza, if you like seltzer, if you just like getting to have some semblance of human contact in outdoor comfortable setting, feel free to talk to me or one of your project leads. We'll invite you to the CIC in-person channel, And then what we'll do is, you'll come up to the 5th floor at CIC. We'll hang out on the patio. It's lighted at night. There's Wi-Fi, and even sometimes we have police sirens. However, last week we decided when the construction started with the jackhammer, we all wanted to leave early, so we don't stand construction here at Code for Boston. Next, RSVP on Meetup. It's how a lot of you have all found us. So I want to encourage folks to continue to RSVP there. I'm not sure how many new folks are finding us on Meetup. So if you're new and you find us on Meetup, if that's a thing, just give us a heads up. Would love to keep tabs on that. Otherwise, we'll find other places to find new friends. Next, Zoom, I keep that updated there. So feel free to bookmark that. Slack, so if you're in YouTube live and or Zoom but not yet in Slack is where our community happens. You get your invitation at slack.codeforboston.org. I did something to fix it the other day, and now I get a notification whenever new people join. I've been seeing a steady pace of new folks joining us. So however you've all been finding us, thank you so much for joining us on Slack, and feel free to participate in the channels and say things. I put up a poll and I asked folks what their favorite programming language is, and would love to see what folks are saying, because as we think about projects, we want to know, are we meeting your needs? Are we providing different projects in the stacks and tools that you are all comfortable in using? So we'll try and throw a little content more in there, and feel free to also participate in jobs and events. I share those out in the email newsletter as well. Next, since we are in person, we are spending a little more money on the catering, like that delicious Polish polar seltzer that I showed you all earlier. So if your employer wants to support us, a lot of employers have been supporting us through various programs. Codeforamerica.org/donate to a brigade is the direct way to do it if you have a credit card and just want to send us money, which is the easiest way to support. But we also have a whole bunch of options to sponsor us. You can talk to Harlan or I, and we can make it happen. And then now, last but not least, let's get on to project updates. And so with that, let's start with Clean Slate.
Hi, I'm Michelle from Clean Slate. Today we're going to be working on most of the same stuff, just continuing to make progress on the testing framework in JavaScript. The data team may meet about their plans for a kind of in-team workshop on Jupyter Notebook. We might be working on the Python side of the adult ceiling interview and working towards user research for the adult ceiling interview. There we go.
Great, thanks, Michelle. Next is Plogalong. Plogalong going once, Plogalong going twice. Mattapan mapping is next. Sorry, here you can let me just go switch the camera.
Hello, so people can hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Hello everyone. The Mattapan mapping tonight is having user testing. If that sounds interesting to you, welcome to join in to our session and just kind of hang out. The link is in the Code for Boston projects page. It's a completely different Zoom. We'll probably be breaking into breakouts and be interviewing the 5 or 6 people that are in Mattapan and maybe potential users of the app. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Thad. Next is Police Data Trust.
I can take that one. So we are continuing development of the UI. Hope I'm able to be heard okay. My data isn't super strong, but we're continuing to work on, okay, good. Continuing to work on the UI. We've got a little bit of a redesign that just recently happened. So we're working through some of those flows. We are also at the same time working out the search flow from the backend or the import flow to get data from some additional sources. So we're adding some more scrapers so that we can have bigger database coming in.
All right. And then next we've got coming up, hold on, let me see. It is windfall awareness. No windfall awareness tonight. So any others that I might be forgetting? Going once, going twice. All right, seeing none, then what I'm gonna do is new folks should stay here in the Zoom. Alex is going to give you new member orientation. Everyone else, thanks so much for dropping by tonight and happy hacking.
All right. So if you're new to Code for Boston, we'll start orientation in just a minute. Else, if you're not, you're free to go start working on your projects. All right. Before we start, usually we do a little bit of introductions. Pretty much how you heard about Code for Boston, what you're looking to get out of it, and also a fun question. What's your favorite food? I guess you're all probably in a different order, so I will write this in chat and then we can start this off. No. I guess, Marcos, if you'd like to start off the introductions.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Marcos. I actually heard about this from a friend who heard about you guys on Meetup. And my favorite food is probably sushi. Absolutely love sushi.
Oh, nice. I just had sushi for dinner, so not
Oh,
a bad choice. All right, Rena.
Hi everyone. You can call me Rena. I found you on Meetup, so I guess to Matt's earlier point about getting new people on Meetup, the link still works, so I guess it's still effective. My favorite food is noodles, pastas, all types of pastas, and spaghetti. Thanks.
Nice. I guess Clifford, you were having a little bit of trouble, but we're in the middle of introduction. So if you want to, introduce yourself, tell us about how you found out about Code for Boston, what you're looking to get out of it, and what's your favorite food. I see you're not muted, but we can't hear you if you are trying to talk. I guess it looks like you're having some audio issues, so I guess I will just start with the orientation. All right, so we'll start off with the history of Code for Boston / Code for America. If you didn't know, our parent organization is Code for America, and they were founded, I think, about 2008, 2009 by someone named Jen Pahlka. She was working, I think, in like doing conventions and stuff like that. And she realized that there was this issue of government having a difficult time making and developing software and maintaining software projects. So what she did is she went out and she fundraised a whole bunch of money to take people from the public sector, so like people from Facebook, Google, these private tech companies, and have them do a year-long fellowship in government, so they could take all the skills and kind of culture and development expertise they've learned in the public sector and kind of try and inject those ideologies into government. So what happened is when they were looking for people for the fellowship, they got a lot more applicants than they could manage. So instead of taking all this interest around helping out their local government, they did this thing called the brigade system or brigade program. So I think in 2013 was the first inaugural brigades, and Code for Boston was actually one of them. This was founded by Harlan Weber, and if you hadn't noticed, he was hanging out in the Zoom meeting before we started orientation. So their first meetup was at a place called Involution Studios in Arlington, Massachusetts, and I think their first, several meetups had something on the average of like maybe 5 to 10 people. Like there was not a whole lot of people there. And a while later, they moved to CIC Cambridge, and that was, if you noticed, the speaker Matt. That's where they were right now, and it's kind of like our physical location, when it's not the pandemic. We've worked on a whole bunch of projects, ranging from working with Cambridge. I think Matt and Harlan were on the open data ordinance for Cambridge back in 2013 to pretty much open a lot of government data so that we could look at it, since I guess technically we pay for it, maybe we should be able to see it. So we've done a bunch of projects kind of, working in and around government since then. So Code for Boston has generally 4 different types of events. The first and main one is the Tuesday night hack night. It starts about 7 o'clock. If you're virtual, it runs until, you're done for the evening, or your group wraps up, or, anytime you feel like stopping. If you go in person, I think currently we wrap up, probably around 9-ish. At the hack nights, we give you space to 1, network with local peers, 2, and most likely while you're here is work on some kind of interesting civic related project that's going to try and go and help someone in your local community, or help prop up some nonprofit, or go in and kind of fix some government services. Every once in a while, we'll have a talk or workshop. A lot of times these are going to be on the Tuesday nights, so you can take a break from your project and learn something new for the night. It's always a nice change of things every once in a while. But we've had workshops ranging from, how do you do Git? How do you do GitHub? How do you take points and plot them on a map? And we've even had someone collect a whole bunch of MBTA data around like statistics and stuff. And every once in a while, they'll run a workshop on, like crunching the numbers and all that kind of stuff. We have organizations come and give talks every once in a while. We've had organizations ranging from, where is this? Northeastern universities come in. They've done talks around how to make sense of data. We've had someone from the Dutch government come in and give a talk on how they do all their digital infrastructure there, since they're such a small country. We've had people like, I think, speakers from Firebase, so Google's like database service, have come in and done talks. So if you're, interested in all that kind of stuff, we do hold those every once in a while. Even though this is your first time here, you haven't entirely missed out. Some of these are actually on our Code for Boston YouTube channel. I think we uploaded a mob programming related one a couple months ago. So, if you want to learn something civic related or, tech related, I would go and check that out. So next is demo night. So you come to Code for Boston and you put a lot of time and effort into these projects. So we kind of like to give back by inviting the people you're working with. So the local communities, the people in the nonprofits that you're working with, and bringing in people from the government. So one, they can come and have a better understanding of what kind of stuff we do here at Code for Boston. And then two, allow you to essentially demonstrate and show off all the awesome work you've done on these projects throughout the year. Usually we get a nice conference room in some place downtown Boston, but I guess current events are going to make that a little more difficult this year. Last but not least is we have targeted events. So this is going to be anything that we're going to be doing over the course of a weekend. So this may be like, Friday or Saturday, Saturday and or Sunday. And this can be like a conference where we get a bunch of, so we have a specific topic, and then we get subject matter experts around that topic. So they, can dive deep in some civic related, issues. Next is we have do hackathons every once in a while. We'll get a whole bunch of new project ideas, and then you'll have like 24, 48 hours to just take these ideas, create something and give a little presentation. And those are always kind of fun. And then we'll even do like smaller things like unconferences, where we'll just break up into groups of your peers and you'll just discuss civic related issues. So that's kind of a lot of the programming we have here at Code for Boston. Projects. So, so here at Code for Boston, we feel that, because our parent organization is a 501c3, that kind of limits the amount of and type of projects we can do here at Code for Boston. First is we can't do any partisan political projects. So we can't go off and do get this next person elected for mayor. That is not something we're allowed to do. But we can do something more issue-based stuff, regardless of it's kind of a polarized issue. So we could do something like fiber network for everyone, or net neutrality projects, because they're issue-based. We're allowed to do those. Next is we're not allowed to do for-profit projects. So if someone were to come in here and say they want to make the next Facebook, one, they're probably not going to be able to do that. And two, that kind of violates minimum labor laws. So that's also another restriction we have here at Code for Boston. Project roles. So when we have a project, we kind of feel that to be a successful Code for Boston project, we need these, as we call it, the three legs of the stool, to be a good project and continue working on this project long term. First is the project partner. This is going to be someone who's outside of Code for Boston. This is probably going to be someone who actually has an issue. So this could be anyone, like someone in a government office that has an issue with data, or maybe it's some organization like a nonprofit that does some, homeless related work, housing homeless people. That's going to be like our project partner. They're going to provide two things. They're going to provide a project, a place for the project to go. Here at Code for Boston, we don't really want to do speculative work. So we like to have a place for a project to go, so that you're not trying to just solve a problem that doesn't exist. Secondly, they are going to be more of a subject matter expert. So a lot of us here are like software developers, software engineers. We know how to make software, but we might not necessarily have the expertise in a specific domain of work we're doing. So like if we're doing something for like a hospital, we may have no idea what kind of regulations they have or what is a problem and isn't a problem. So when we have someone that's outside the organization with a problem, they'll be able to fill us in with all the information that we need to make the project actually work and helpful for someone. Next is we have the project lead. This is going to be the person that's going to work with the project partner to kind of take their idea of a project and kind of scope it down so we can actually complete it here at Code for Boston. A lot of times when a organization has an issue or someone has an issue, they'll be like, oh, I need to solve this problem. An example is there was like a challenge a couple of years ago that said solve homelessness. That's not something that Code for Boston can really physically, do. So we would try to talk with them and kind of break down their idea into something that we could take and work on and actually complete. The project lead is also going to work with the team to kind of set more or less deadlines, not deadlines, but deliverable times when we want to get stuff done, and kind of set up, I forget what the word is, pretty much stages of development and, when we want to hit these milestones and stuff like that. The last and not necessarily least is the tech lead. This is the person who's going to work with the project lead to take all these deliverables and milestones and break them up into little chunks so that when someone comes here to Code for Boston and, works here for like, 3 hours a week, can take one of these and then get it done and get all their changes pushed up. They're also going to be the one who's going to like select the tools that we use, select the programming languages and all that kind of stuff. Next is communication tools. So GitHub. This is kind of where all of our projects live. If you've visited, I think it's github.com/code4boston, you'll see all of the previous projects we've worked on in the past, because that's pretty much where all of them live. It makes it real easy when you're doing work on a project to be able to take all these changes you've done, make a commit and push it up to someone where everyone else on the team has easy access to. It's probably one of the main reasons we use it. And a lot of teams will use their project management tools. So people will make issues. So, probably project lead will go in there and make a whole bunch of issues that someone like me could go in, claim, start working on, push up a commit, and then tag that issue is completed, just to make it a little easier for everyone, to get a better understanding of what's being done and who's working on what. Next communication is Slack. If you haven't already joined Slack, definitely go to codeforboston.com. On the front page, there's codeforboston.org. There's a button that says, I think it says say hi on Slack. You click that and you'll get an invite to our Slack channel. This is where a lot of the asynchronous work is done. Pretty much if you join a project and you have questions, it's really easy to go into their channel. Each project has their own project channel and there's several others. There's one for like general chat and events and stuff like that. But if you go into the projects channel, you can go and ask questions and someone who's currently working on the project can very easily answer those questions, answer questions about the project, help you get onboarded, and just direct you to where you may need to be. And that's where a lot of communication happens here at Code for Boston, is through the Slack. Next is video chat. So pretty much every project has video chat. Some people use Zoom, some people use Google Hangouts, some people use Slack. So their all their project stuff is actually done through Slack. On our Hack Nights, pretty much each group will start up there video chat, and they'll kind of just hang out there and do what they need to do in there. I think a lot of it is used to kind of synchronize all the work that has been done in the past, answer questions in an easier fashion than text, and then make sure people are on the right track, have things to do, and are like excited about the things that they're working on. Those are most of the communication tools we use. Getting the most out of your experience. So Code for Boston is a great place to kind of develop your skills, but it's not a very good place to learn how to program and develop. So a lot of us here are, software developers, software engineers. We can maybe point you to places that can help you develop your skills, give you some, issues to work on that'll kind of broaden your skills or get you, grow your skills. But we're not really great at teaching how to program, and that's a completely different skill. We're not expecting software engineers to also be teachers. So if you haven't already completed, say, like a boot camp, or you've created like a website, or done like a front end or a back end, if you've kind of gotten to that level, you're probably good to go at Code for Boston. But if you haven't, I would suggest maybe getting to that level before you start helping commit. Next is kind of time commitments. So if you come to Code for Boston, make sure to do it consecutive weeks in a row. If you come here once a month, you'll go into the project, you'll kind of, you'll get started up, and that takes some time. You'll have to figure out what people are working on, what you can work on, what's good for your skills. And that eats into most of the time that you would have at night during the hack night. So it makes it very beneficial. Instead of doing that once a month, if you were to come every week, you have a fresh, you're not starting from fresh every time. You'll have been onboarded. You'll know what's happening in the project. You'll come the next week. You'll be like, oh, cool. We know work's done. You can push your stuff up, and you don't have to kind of relearn the project every single time you come here, if you were to come here like once a month. So we suggest you come here in like a block of maybe like 3 to 4 weeks at a time. And then if you wanted to take a break then, instead of coming here 1 week, taking a couple weeks off, and then coming another week. All right. Last is project pitches. So I guess let me pull up the projects. It looks like we were a little light tonight in projects, but we will first start with Clean Slate. Okay. So about, I think in 2018, at the end of 2018, Massachusetts passed a law that allowed people to, I believe, seal or expunge their marijuana convictions at the state level. So the project was spun up kind of around that legislation change to allow people to expunge or seal their records. And what this is an expungement is you go to the state, if you are granted expungement of your records, they'll go and take all of those things related to the incidents that you want expunged, and will essentially be thrown out, so no one will be able to know what happened or if that ever happened. Sealing is they take those records and they sealed and they get put somewhere, and I think it requires a judge to be able to allow people to look at that, so it has a really high bar of being able to access those criminal or those convictions and stuff like that. I think so. Clean Slate, I think last year released the juvenile sealing portion of this application. And pretty much what it does is, if you're a juvenile or you were convicted as a juvenile, you can go in. It's kind of like, what is it, TurboTax, where you kind of like put in all your information, and it'll tell you whether or not you can get your record sealed or expunged, and then kind of point you into the direction to the forums or where you could access these things and like the courts that you may be beholden to. And they actually finished that part and was given over to their partner, Citizens for Juvenile Justice, and it's on their website right now. So that's actually accessible. Now they're working on adult sealing. So if you're interested in that kind of work, I would say go check out Clean Slate. The next people that were here today is the Police Misconduct Data Trust. So what they're currently doing is building a national index of police incidents. They're trying to connect journalists, social scientists, criminal and civil rights lawyers to allow them to access injustice data across state lines in one shared location. So what this means is, say, some police officer had some kind of misconduct in another state, and there were, something happened, went through the courts, and then they essentially left that police department and went to another one. A lot of those incident reports kind of get thrown out and you don't know what happened. So we're trying to do is collect those, making sure they don't go away, so that if there's some kind of misconduct happening towards you and you find yourself in court against some police officers, you have additional information about what they have done in the past to help you with that. Their partner is the Tubman Project, and their tech stack I think is mostly Python. But if you're interested in that kind of work, I would say go check out the Police Data Misconduct Data Trust Project. Last but not least is the Mattapan Mapping Project. The Mattapan Mapping Project is a community-based initiative to collect and share resident stories alongside quantitative and spatial data about how Mattapan is changing on a single open source online platform. The goal is to provide information in an all-in-one place to empower its residents to take civic action and advocate for equitable policies. So what this means is that the main problem with Mattapan right now that's facing Mattapan is that it is one of the last places in the greater Boston metro area that has not yet been gentrified. So the citizens of Mattapan kind of want to keep their culture and all that stuff alive. So what they're trying to do is protect that by making a map where you can go in and see places of historical interest. So I think a couple of years ago, they were able to create a new park and a bridge and a bunch of stuff, and there's some history around that. They want to be able to collect that so that anyone from Mattapan can go and look at that kind of cultural significant event. They also want to protect against gentrification. If you've ever driven around or been outside and you've seen signs that say we buy ugly houses for cash, or something like we buy houses for cash, that is pretty much developers going out and probing to see if they can actually go out and buy houses for cheap, kind of demolish them and build new buildings and kind of start the gentrification process. So they want to be able to mark that so that people around Mattapan know what's going on. If you're interested in that, I believe a lot of their work is in JavaScript. So a lot of GIS stuff. So if you're interested in that, I would go check out that. And I think that's more or less what we have for tonight. If you have any questions, I can answer them now. If not, I'm going to head out here in probably like 10 minutes. But until then, I can help you navigate to a project that you're interested in or answer any other questions. Does anyone need help finding a project that's working tonight, or have other questions about Code for Boston or any of that kind of stuff?
Hi, Alex.
Hello.
I have a question. So, how do we reach out to the team leader for which the project that we're interested in is? Would you be able to share that with us for the three
Yeah.
projects that you described, either on the screen or a link, so we can reach out if needed?
Okay. So I just put a link in chat. Pretty much that has a link to their video chat and also usually the GitHub repository for it, and also the Slack channel. If you're really interested in checking out the project, there's no problem just jumping on the video chat and being like, hey, I'm new here. I'd like to get oriented, or I want to, participate, and they'll kind of take it from you and onboard you and get you set up. If you're kind of not 100% interest, know which project you want to work on, you could definitely go into the Slack channel, say hi, and be like, I'm interested. Go check out the GitHub and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. So basically, if I just go on the Slack and then familiarize myself with the three projects you described, I can reach out to them there and join at a later time.
Yeah. If you want to, just take a look at what the project is doing at the moment, no problem. If you come back another week, they'll be glad to have you. I mean, now that you've been oriented, you don't have to stick around for the, orientation that takes quite a while. And you can just jump right in at the beginning of the night as opposed to starting like halfway in. I guess, Mark, you said you're not 100% sure how far you are along at this point.
Sorry, I have another question.
All right.
How do we know how much experience should we have for each of the three projects you described? Do we just again talk to them on Slack or?
So I guess um pretty much it depends on what you want to do. If you're looking to just do like software development, if you're at a point where you've made a website, like a simple website, some like little front end and back end, you're probably good to go. If you've done any kind of like made a desktop application or maybe just created some kind of API service thing, you may be able to be helpful on each project. Also, it depends on, I guess, the project, the software languages they use on each project, if how comfortable you are. I guess pretty much it's up to you if you think you're ready to join a project.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
All right, I guess Clifford, it's just you and me. I'm gonna head off in just a minute. If you need anything, feel free to message me on Slack. If you want help trying to figure out where you'd like to go, I can help you with that real quick before I head out. All right, sounds good. I guess I'm going to end the call. So I guess have a good rest of your evening.